All right, welcome everyone. Today we are going to get our hands dirty. We're moving way beyond simple textbook definitions to really explore the real-world, messy managerial challenges that are hiding behind a core economic principle, surplus. So we're not just learning theory here, we're learning strategy.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll nail down the foundational principle of what a surplus actually is. Then we're going to immediately apply it to a really high-stakes case study. From there, we'll analyze the market's almost predictable response, and finally, we'll get into the tough part, weighing the strategic choices a manager has to make.
So, first things first, let's establish our theory. But I want you to look at this not as an academic, but as a business leader. See, a surplus isn't just some formula on a page. It's a critical signal from the market, and it demands a strategic response.
At its very core, a surplus is just a mismatch, right? But for a manager, that mismatch is a very real, tangible problem. It's unsold inventory sitting in a warehouse. It's capital just tied up in stuff that isn't moving. And, most importantly, every single day it exists, it represents lost revenue.
This slide just lays it out so perfectly. On one side of that big greater than sign, you've got what you have, a mountain of supply. And on the other, you have what the market actually wants at your current price. So why is this so lopsided? Well, almost every single time the culprit is your price. It's just set too high, and it's knocking the entire market out of balance. Your pricing signal is just plain wrong. Okay, enough with the abstract theory. Let's make this real. We're going to dive into a concrete case study to see exactly how this plays out in a high-stakes business environment. This is where the numbers start to matter, and you can feel the pressure build.
I want you to imagine you're the general manager here. You've got a beautiful hotel, a great staff, everything's ready to go. But it's November. It's the rainy season. Demand has absolutely tanked. The demand curve has shifted way to the left. But your pricing, it's completely static, stuck back in the sunny high season. This is a classic failure to adapt to market dynamics.
And this number, this is the direct result of that failure to adapt. 190 empty rooms. Now, that is not just a number on a spreadsheet. That is a massive surplus. And in the hotel business, your inventory is brutally perishable. You can't sell last night's empty room tomorrow. The second that clock strikes midnight, the value of that room drops to zero, forever. And just look at the visual scale of the problem on this chart. It tells the whole story, doesn't it? The bar on the left shows you've got 200 rooms ready to go. That tiny little bar next to it, that shows that at your current price, the market is only asking for 10. That huge gap you see, that is pure financial pressure, and it's an undeniable signal that your price is wrong.
So this is no longer a theoretical question in a textbook, right? This is a practical crisis, and it demands a response now. The silence in those empty hallways is deafening. You are being forced to weigh the cost and the brand damage of taking action versus the guaranteed financial loss of doing nothing. So, what do?
So what happens next? Well, when you have a surplus this big, the market exerts a powerful downward pressure on your price. This isn't something the manager can just ignore or wish away. Trust me, a correction is coming, one way or another. This slide shows that classic market mechanism playing out in real time. The surplus creates immense pressure. The manager, seeing this, finally initiates a price cut. Now, as the price falls, customers who thought $2.5 million was way too expensive suddenly see value at, let's say, $1.5 million. This boosts demand, and you start moving down along the demand curve until the surplus is gone and you find that new sweet spot, a new equilibrium.
And what this quote really highlights is that this isn't some cold, automatic economic adjustment. No, it's driven by human beings making decisions under intense pressure. This quote just nails that feeling of panic, of urgency. The theory is put into motion by the very real, very human need to avoid a financial catastrophe.
Okay, so we've established that the price has to fall. That part's inevitable. But the way it falls, the method, the messaging, the whole execution, that is a critical strategic decision that's going to have long-term consequences for your brand.
So, what's the best play for our general manager to solve this 190-room problem? Let's break down the two main options. Now, each one solves the immediate issue, but they create two very, very different futures for this hotel.
This table lays out the trade-offs beautifully. Let's really dig in here. Option 1, the flash sale. What's the upside? It is very fast. You get cash in the door tonight. But look at that long-term effect.
You risk training your customers to only buy when you're on sale, which cheapens your brand over time. It's a classic trap. Now, option 2, a permanent price reduction. This is a much slower, more strategic play. It repositions the entire hotel and sets a new, more realistic value proposition. But it's a whole lot harder to raise your prices again later. So the decision is absolutely critical. Are you going for a short-term cash grab that risks your brand, or are you strategically repositioning for the future?
So, what's the bottom line here for you? What's the key takeaway? First, pricing has to be dynamic, it can't be static. Second, a surplus isn't just waste, it's a powerful signal from the market telling you to wake up and reevaluate your strategy. And remember, how you choose to correct your price has a massive impact on how customers see you. In the end, every single pricing decision is also a branding decision.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We spent this whole time framing surplus as a problem, as a failure to be fixed. But could a planned surplus ever be used strategically? Think about it. Maybe to clear out last season's inventory to make room for the new collection, or to create a reason for a massive, high-profile sales event that drives a ton of traffic and buzz. Can this market problem actually be turned into a marketing opportunity? Something to think about.